Well, hi there. So today we're going to talk about a pretty unique piece of equipment. I found it on Kickstarter, and a few other people have done videos on it, but it's from the pretty well-renowned company Agawa that makes, I believe one of their bigger claim to fame is their folding portable bow saw that I have one of, and I really like it. Excellent piece of equipment, very sturdy, hasn't let me down, and lets you get that back and forth cut that silky saw doesn't, with a tougher blade than a silky saw has. But this year they came out with a convertible hatchet slash axe, 26-inch axe that has a very packable nature to it. And is extremely sturdy. They used some advanced materials, and it's really quite similar to the feel and handling of a Fisker's hatchet, boy's axe, forest axe, etc. And I would classify this as a light axe when it's being used as an axe. It's a fine hatchet. There are things that I very much like and things that I don't like about this hatchet and axe combo, so we'll get into it. Got a nice little upside down fire started over there, not because I need the warmth, but mosquito self-defense. I've got that Zevo spray on and it's working really well, but I like to clear out the area, and you know, that oak will do the job. Okay, and I finally got some better equipment, guys. So, upgraded tripod. Found a decent one on Amazon with a gooseneck that'll fit my phone. So, I'm very happy with it so far. So, the Agawa 26. Just a moment. Okay, so let's go into the basics about it. I don't have the specs on hand. Those are readily available online. Everybody does specs in the videos. And I'm not trying to convince anyone to buy or not buy this thing. I'm just showing you functionality, really. So it has this long strand polymer material with glass fibers that is very strong. It feels pretty much exactly like a Fisker's handle. And these spring clips that have a retention area there, and those you can easily pry apart with just finger pressure. This carry case supports both items. Nice little case there. It's good thick Cordura. And then the axe, or the hatchet itself, set that case over there. Oh, one more thing to mention about the case. It does have a couple of loops on the back for different types of ties to equipment, backpacks and such that you can choose to do. It'll accept wide webbing. It's a nice touch. One thing I did notice about Agawa straight off the bat with regards to this product is that this is the lever, and we'll show this later, but this is the lever to detach these spring clips, lever them off when you want to collapse it again. I watched, after I'd ordered mine on the Kickstarter campaign, I watched a couple of videos from people that had gotten advanced versions of these, and this was originally held in the hatchet mask, and people were concerned that they could lose it, etc. And before I got my version, they'd already proactively relocated it to be integrated with the button snap on the case itself. You're always going to want to have the case with this. That's part of the point of it. So I thought that was very proactive and a clever solve to that issue. Now, if you did lose your case, lose this part, you can always just carve another one out of wood to get a little bit of leverage to pop those free. They're not incredibly difficult to pop off. It's just very difficult to do with your fingertips. And I wouldn't want to use my nails. So how does this work? Well, you have a standard hatchet length here. You know, I'd say this is probably a 13, 14-inch hatchet. It's got a great weight in the hand for a hatchet. Pretty unique head retention design. Not sure how they did that, but they're extremely confident in its strength. Something I love, this completely flat black pole of the axe just absolutely screams, you can hammer with me. Now, I would do that with the mask on, of course. You know, polymer's polymer, but frankly, I would trust this more than wood. So I'm going to and have already used it a few times, but I'm really just getting started with this hatchet axe combo. I had picked it up on Kickstarter at the start of their campaign, intending for this to be my primary on canoe and kayak trips this summer with my son, and to have both an axe and a hatchet with me at all times and conserve quite a bit of space. So they had a product that I was very interested in without even knowing what I was looking for, and that to me just screams a good idea. So how this works is you open up those spring clips a little bit, pop the handles together, and then with finger pressure you snap them in place. Make sure they're well snapped, and at that point you have a 26-inch small forest axe. The mask is a nice high quality leather, good rivets, nice button snap, good feel. It's pretty tight from the factory. It's starting to loosen up a little bit now. And they used an upgraded steel on this. I believe it was 51200. Came from the factory, extremely sharp. I haven't touched it at all yet. This cheek design has a couple of hollows to either side of the cheek and a thicker portion through the center. Now, I believe that was probably done to save weight, but also give it enough geometry to potentially split. But that cheek doesn't rise up into a wedge really at all. You come off the convex and it's pretty much straight sailing until it widens out and flares right as it starts to meet the handle. So that, for me, therein lies a bit of the problem. One of the main reasons, if I'm taking down a small dead sapling or a tree, yes, this would serve as a felling axe, as opposed to using a saw and wedges. But that's one of the lesser activities I tend to do. Most of the wood that I cut down is standing dead, pretty small. I can typically handle it with a combination of a knife and a saw. An axe is, especially out in the backcountry, you know, an axe is one of the more dangerous tools you can use. This is not going to be my primary choice. What I mostly like to use an axe for is splitting down firewood. And I'm going to show a method to make this axe work for that for me later on. But I'm also going to show a segment of trying to split the exact same piece of bur oak. Yes, granted, a little twisted, a little gnarly, but I'm going to show using this axe to split it completely unsuccessfully, and then immediately following up with the Fiskars X25, which is about the same size as a full-size small forest or boy's axe, and popping it into multiple pieces on the first hit each and every time. Whereas this blade geometry got stuck to a depth of about here, and I had to wiggle and pry to free it. I've tried multiple pieces of wood, standard fireplace length, like 18, 20-inch pieces, with the same results. I have been unable to split any of my normal white oak, red oak, bur oak, or hickory pieces in one shot with this guy, where I can always one-shot them with the Fiskars, which is a splitting axe. The Fiskars is a splitting axe. This is not. I'm not really dinging the Agawa for not doing what I want it to do, but I'm advising you that it may be a limitation for you. Shape and swell of the head is nice. Like I said, extremely sharp, and let's see if I can show the thickness of the blade there. It's a fairly thin head, and I was suspicious as soon as I went to try splitting with it that what I found to be the case would be the case, because it just felt so much lighter than my normal Fiskars X25. I know that they tried to save some weight. This is a camping, this is a portable, this is an emergency, but it doesn't have enough mass to do what I would primarily want to do with it without batoning with it as in its hatchet form, or using alternate approaches, carving wedges and such to split a piece out. Hold on just a moment. I'm going to grab a piece of wood and I'll show how well it carves though. Okay, so this is a piece of relatively soft poplar from a tree that fell in my property a couple of years ago. I keep sacrificing or repurposing the larger branches for tent poles and tripods and things of that nature. But you can see this came quite sharp, and you could purpose this for feather sticking no problem. Normally you would, well, one of the ways I like to do it is to sink the axe into a stump or a dead tree and then pull across to develop curls and feather stick and process little tinder for yourself. I have a terrible angle on this, so I'm not showing it very effectively, but that's one of the better and safer ways to do it. But again, if splitting is your main purpose, you're going to have to use alternate routes with this guy. Using it as a full-size axe, I believe the main purpose that you're going to be able to put it to is felling and limbing. Splitting, it's not its forte. Now, things I really like about it, the overall quality is astounding. It's very, very good. It feels well made. It feels solid. That pommel back there, that pull is dead flat, and I will be using this as a hammering tool. I don't know if that's contraindicated or not. Is that already a crack? Maybe I'm going to have to eat my words here. Maybe I'll have to give them a call. I don't know if that's a crack or a mold line. I don't see it on both sides. That's a little suspicious. Well, what do you guys think? Crack? There may be a follow-up video about how they handle warranty service. Not sure. So, to get this back apart, All you do is look for your spring clips, grab the metal tool from your case there, lever backwards and pop it free, flip it over and do the same on the other side. And boom, just like that, it comes apart. One thing I do really appreciate about this is that in reverse, putting it back together, I can almost do that one-handed. Very, very easy. You feel a positive clack when they snap into place. I like that a lot. And the swell to catch your hand at the end of a stroke is very pronounced and feels just right. It feels just like my Fiskars. They also introduced a good basic swell at the center join portion. Some videos I've seen people placing the axe head and the bottom of the handle between two rocks and jumping up and down on this joint with no effect whatsoever. So that seems to be plenty strong and well designed, well engineered, whatever materials they've used. But popping it free is no big deal at all. You just need a little bit of leverage. And then for packing, you just snap those back shut, put your mask back on, and the hatchet portion goes in the rear pouch, and the handle portion goes base up in the front pocket. My case is still a little tight because I haven't had much chance to use this, and I really hope that's not a crack in there. That's going to change my thoughts on this entirely. But that is the Agawa ADK26 convertible hatchet and axe. Not sure what their availability is at the moment. They were on Kickstarter, and I got one of mine as the early bird rewards program thing. I believe it was a little more than $100. So I will definitely be contacting them to inquire about that line I saw near the head. I'm certainly not going to use it if it's got a structural weakness. That's an automatic out for me. But to me, this is, for what they probably intended for design, I feel like it's excellent. For the ways that I would like to use it, I wish it had a heavier, wider head. I'd be happy to carry that extra weight for the extra capability. So for me, this is a tool of limited value. I like it. It's a great idea. I wish there was an HD or XL version that were a little heavier built so that I could use it the way I would like to use it. But overall, as a concept and an execution, I think it's quite good. So that's it for this one. I just wanted to share my mixed bag feelings on this tool. And until next time, I hope you all have a great week, and we'll see you then. Bye. So we'll talk more about this in a moment, or previous, depending on how I arrange these clips. But the ADK26 from Agawa, we got to think about design intent, right? So it is too light of a head and too convenient to act as a primary splitting axe. It's just, I don't really feel that they meant it to do that. So how would I deal with splitting wood in the woods if needed? Well, different approaches. So we'll see if this works. We're going to take a piece of poplar. Now this isn't ideal because it's not dry. This served as a part of a tripod for supporting my firewood in the past. But trick I've picked up, I think it was Felix Imler, his channel, that showed me the right way to do this. But with the silky saw, push down on your surface and angle your saw perpendicular to the ground. And that way you get a lot more vise action. It really makes a difference. You don't have the saw chattering all around, and you get a good fast cut when you're not trying to avoid hitting the camera. And we're going to make some wedges is what we're going to do. But that automatically means that you're going to want a saw of some kind as a companion piece to this axe. And I suppose you could do it with a good thick sturdy knife. You know, just lop down a few green branches or break one off and then carve them out. But we're going to try it with just the saw and the Agawa. So we're going to angle our piece away from us a little bit so we don't have to work on angling the axe in. We're going to go straight down and use the angle of the held piece. To make our wedge shape. Very sticky edge. That should do. Now we'll take a little crack into our piece there. Well, this isn't a great example. It's already kind of split, but for demo, it'll be fine. One thing I do like very much about the Agawa, that's a terrible wedge, Jack. Bad job. Is that it has this hammer pommel on the back. You can see it is causing that split to open up. And we could split it that way. Not what I consider a fun time, but a doable time. And that was a short piece. And we could also go along the length of the wood, placing wedges 1, 2, 3, and tapping those in sequentially to split. It's a lot of effort. It's a lot more work. I really prefer either batoning a piece this large with a hatchet, which you do have the option of with the Agawa. So let's try that. Back in a moment. Now, I have a good oak mallet I've made, but you could use any heavy log out in the woods to do this sort of thing. And we're just gonna place the Agawa right there. And that works really well. Try it on this thick piece. Try to find a alignment that hasn't already got a crack in it. Yeah, that's fine. But I would also saw up or break down the firewood I plan to use into smaller pieces, 8 to 10 inches long, rather than full-size split lengths, like, you know, campground style wood. That would be too long. You'd want to saw it in half. Okay, so right here we have some bur oak, and we're going to try to split it with the Agawa 26, ADK26, the convertible axe, and then we'll follow up with my Fisker's X25 splitting axe. That's frustrating. Same piece. With the Fiskers.